The ability to innovate and adapt has transcended from a nice-to-have competitive advantage to a fundamental survival skill for any business in a competitive landscape. How can you accelerate the cerebral engines that power those aha moments? And what sets a good idea apart from just any average idea? Follow along as we divulge the best practices for brainstorming sessions, tried and tested brainstorming techniques such as brainwriting, 6 thinking hats, lightning demo, and reverse brainstorming, and how to organize and evaluate which ideas are ultimately worth pursuing with tools such as Action Priority Matrix. By the end of this, you'll be well on your way to better ideas with less time. But keep in mind that every brainstorming session has its own goals, timeline, resources, and manpower. So, what makes the most sense for your own scenario? You can also download and customize our collection of brainstorming slides, tools, and presentation templates used in this video. And we've also enabled chapters, so if you don't have time to watch the full video, but want to skip ahead, feel free to do so. As 2-time Nobel Prize winner and science pioneer Linus Pauling said, the best way to have a good idea is to have a lot of ideas. Why is that so? Since when is quantity more important than quality? Broadly speaking, the act of ideation and solution seeking can be divided into 2 phases, divergent thinking and convergent thinking. Divergent thinking is also known as the generative or flaring phase. At this point, let your imagination flow. Anything goes. This is when quantity matters more than quality. Once ideas have been collected, we then transition into convergent thinking, also known as the selective or focusing phase. This is when hard, cold logic and critical thinking reign supreme. Use this occasion to narrow down the collection of ideas into only the practical few. In fact, this interplay between divergent and convergent thinking has taken up a critical role in product discovery, with an emphasis on rapid iterations. Making an agenda for a brainstorming session is like charting a map for an unexplored territory of ideas. If your team has the resources to do so, it's never a bad idea to designate a meeting facilitator for the task. The agenda should be sufficient, but flexible, basically providing a structured pathway while allowing reasonable detours to explore unexpected bursts of creativity. Make sure that the agenda is circulated to participants well in advance so they can have time to mentally be prepared. Speaking of mental preparation, needless to say, we've all heard about brainstorming do's and don'ts, such as don't be judgmental, be respectful and inclusive, etc. All in all, a safe and positive environment is the way to go. But why? What if employees come up with better ideas under pressure and sadistic discomfort? Multiple scientific research and studies have provided support to the broaden and build theory, which demonstrates that positive emotions and moods can facilitate creative thinking and problem solving by enhancing cognitive flexibility and promoting open-mindedness. In one of the experiments, participants performed much better in creative out-of-the-box thinking after they were primed by feel-good gestures as simply as watching a few minutes of comedy or getting a small bag of candy. We mentioned the power of numbers when it comes to brainstorming. While that is true, one common pitfall to avoid is groupthink. Groupthink is a phenomenon where the desire for harmony and conformity within a group leads to subpar ideas and outcomes. When too many team members are brainstorming out loud, all at the same time, our human instinct to want to be loved takes over. We then end up nodding and smiling and then passively agreeing with whatever ideas our teammates just voiced, all the while subconsciously suppressing our own ideas. That is why it's often recommended to dedicate a time during the brainstorming session for participants to silently think on their own first without influence from others, and then come together to share their own ideas. Or in Amazon's case, its concept of 2 pizza teams is the idea that teams should be small enough to be fed with just 2 pizzas. Small teams ensure more focused and productive brainstorming sessions, as each member has the opportunity to voice their own ideas. Pixar's Brain Trust, Spotify's Squad Model, Apple's brainstorming camps, Microsoft's Think Week. The list goes on showing the level of time, budget, and resources that even the most competitive companies continue to dedicate to the act of brainstorming. Without getting such costly endeavors involved, let's go over some brainstorming techniques and frameworks that you and your team can easily realistically incorporate into your next powwow. Remember that these are just a few of the many tools available. You can find more in our brainstorming techniques presentation template and download and customize them to your particular needs. Navigating through the ocean of collective creativity, 635 brainwriting is a technique that simultaneously honors individual thought processes and also encourages collaborative ideation. In this technique, 6 participants are tasked to write down 3 ideas within a span of 5 minutes. The essence of the method lies in its repetitive and collaborative nature, where after the initial 5-minute ideation phase, each participant silently passes their sheet to the person on their right, who then builds upon the ideas and adds new perspectives and dimensions. This cycle continues until each participant receives their original sheet back, now embellished with a slew of fresh takes from the rest of the team. The 6 thinking hats is a framework that introduces a structured parallel thinking that guides participants through different facets of an idea. Each hat symbolizes a distinct type of thinking. Through this journey, the 6 thinking hats make sure that the brainstorming session is not a chaotic storm of ideas, but is rather a structured exploration through varied cognitive domains. Here's how. The process starts with the blue hat, which sets the stage for the brainstorming session and defines its objectives and the sequence of thinking that will ensue. Subsequently, the group dons the white hat when they get to navigate through a realm of facts, data, and information. This ensures that the discussion is grounded in reality and is informed by relevant and accurate data. The journey then meanders through the emotional and intuitive terrains of the red hat, where participants express feelings, intuitions, and gut reactions without justification. This gives a glimpse of the emotional responses towards the issue at hand. The green hat then spouts seeds of creativity and novel ideas. This is a space where participants can explore alternatives and new concepts, free from the constraints of critical judgment. As a natural follow-up to the free flow of ideas, yellow hat continues the discussion in optimism. This is the chance to explore positive aspects, benefits, and potential upsides to the proposed ideas. In contrast to the yellow hat, the black hat then casts a shadow of caution and critical judgment, where potential pitfalls, risks, and negative aspects are explored. This instills a much-needed reality check in the brainstorming process. The session can then culminate with the return of the red hat for a quick check-in to see how everyone is feeling, and then concludes with the blue hat to consolidate solutions and plan for the next steps. IBM has utilized the 6 thinking hats in their meetings to manage the direction and flow of discussions, ensuring that their teams explore various aspects of the issues at hand. Similarly, Siemens and Boeing are known to have employed this method to foster creativity and collaborative problem solving within their teams. Lightning demo. Good artists copy. That is a good mantra to live by for teams that want to improve upon existing solutions in the market. Compared to all other brainstorming techniques, lightning demo focuses heavily on visuals. In a rapid-fire lightning demo session, participants showcase existing solutions or ideas from other companies that inspire them. These companies can be direct competitors, or they may simply have that one offering or capability that can be reappropriated across industries. Let's say hypothetically, Adobe is in the process to update its creative software tools. Its product team might utilize lightning demos to showcase existing solutions in the market. Perhaps in trying to improve Adobe XD, the software for web and mobile app designs, the team could look into Figma, or as we know it, simply acquire the company. Now, that's an idea too. But remember, simply copying from sources of inspiration is not enough. When presenting their findings, participants should clearly indicate the areas worth replicating and the areas worth avoiding. Critical thinking and evaluation in this case really helps avoid making the same costly mistakes that other companies make. Reverse brainstorming, or negative brainstorming, flips the script by focusing on how to create or exacerbate the problem. This seemingly counterintuitive approach often unearths solutions by exploring the problem space from a different angle. By understanding the ways a problem can be intensified, participants often stumble upon unique insights and end up with solutions that might have otherwise remained obscure. To improve nutritional content and public perception of menu items, McDonald's culinary marketing teams might use reverse brainstorming to identify criticisms and challenges related to health and develop menu items that are both appealing and nutritious. Once the issues are laid bare, the team developed plant-based or lower-calorie options and introduced eco-friendly packaging. The fast food giant even redesigned all of its stores to incorporate a more modern and muted palette, ditching the interior aesthetics commonly associated with fast food franchises and instead exhibiting a visual nod to establishments that would serve grilled instead of fried chicken. These are just some of the brainstorming methods that we could fit in this video. For more hands-on tools, download our Brainstorming Techniques presentation and customize each tool to your idea session. Now that we've fulfilled the tasks under the generative phases of brainstorming, it's time to narrow down and hone in on the ideas that are the most promising. This elimination process could sometimes be as simple as a vote of popularity, which is commonly done by processes like dot voting. As the name itself suggests, each dot serves as a voice, or a vote, that democratically elevates ideas that resonate with the collective intellect and intention of the group. As a result, the chosen ideas are not merely the product of hierarchical decision-making, but are rather born out of collective consensus and ownership. Realistically, even after narrowing down, there are still multiple ideas that are equally appealing. In this case, consider using an action priority matrix, which organizes ideas by effort and impact. Ideas or tasks that require low effort and generate low impact are fill-in jobs that can be tended to when there's downtime and certainly are not the biggest priorities. Ideas that require a lot of effort to execute but would only yield little impact are thankless tasks. Regardless of how cool that idea might be, reality says not to pursue it. Ideas that require a lot of effort to execute but would also create big upsides are considered major projects. These are definitely a priority, but they do require more complex planning. Last but not least is the low-hanging fruit that the team should tackle first. Quick wins that not only demand relatively low effort, but also generate the biggest impact. By this logic, place each idea into its appropriate quadrant and relative locations, and there you have it. If your team prefers a more quantitative approach, however, consider an idea evaluation form with weighted criteria. In some cases, all criteria are equally important, but realistically, some are usually valued more than others. By multiplying each idea's base score by weighted percentages, the results provide a clear, inconvertible ranking of idea priorities. By intertwining structured methodologies with the unbridled creativity of the participants, organizations can harness the collective intellectual prowess of their teams, thereby crafting solutions that are not only innovative, but also deeply rooted in collective wisdom and diverse perspectives. The brainstorming techniques we mentioned can catalyze organizations towards a future where ideas are not merely generated, but also meticulously evaluated, nurtured, and brought to fruition. So, what are some brainstorming methods that have done wonders for you and your team in the past? Share your tips and tricks in the comments so we can learn from each other. Thank you so much for watching.